second guess myself a lot, all the time. And I can get going on something and then I second guess because something will go wrong and I'll think, maybe I'm not supposed to do it. Maybe that's a sign I'm not supposed to do it. I'm like, well, no, maybe that's a sign that I was supposed to come up with a creative solution to this problem to make myself even better. But I think a lot of us see that and we go, oh, that means I'm supposed to stop. And it's not. And so, like I say, I'm saying this for kind of everybody, not for counsel for myself, but just to say that I think that's what happens. A lot of us do make goals, but we don't, one, look at them every single day. We don't make micro goals from it. We don't share it with somebody. And then when something goes wrong, we take that as a sign that, oh, well, maybe I'm not supposed to do it. And those things, I think, are some of the top things, at least for me, but I know I've heard it of others too, that keep us from taking those, big, hairy goals and really doing something with them.
So one of the things that I found myself as I continue to awaken is these ideas that pop up, these flashes, right? If you've ever had an idea and went, oh God, I should have wrote that down. What was that?
Yeah.
So I've fallen in love with my audio record, the voice recorder on my phone, my recorder on my phone. I'll pop it up and throw an idea in there. And sometimes I'll go back and listen to the idea and go, well, I don't even know what I was thinking, right? I don't even know what to do with that next. And then there's other things. We're always doing our best to awaken ourselves, because if we ever come up with an idea, it wasn't to make us little. Now, a lot of us who stand in front of audiences and speak or have teams, a lot of times we use this content and we use it as fodder for our leadership building. And it's great content. It's a way for us to say something to a friend, to a team member, to a community that makes it easier for them to comprehend. One of the things I realized is that for me, is that when I go back and look at those things and something jumps out at me, it reminds me of how I keep holding myself back, right? And in doing that, I minimize my gift to the world. So I'll be the first one to say it. Yeah, I think I'm a gift to the world. and in doing so, but I think we're all a gift to the world. And here's the thing, if we're all one, right? I was listening to this, I listen to crazy stuff. The difference between us and a banana, is about, there's about 38% of the genes are different. Us and a banana, right? Us and a monkey, 2%. And so I was listening to a comedian one day. He says, so we're going to have some surgery. We're going to work on stuff. And he says, hey, doc, I heard we're like only 2% different than us and a monkey. He said, yeah. He says, you're not going to be operating on that 2%, are you? But if that's how close we are to everything around us, and we're kind of, that's why my blood, if it suits time and space, can go into yours, or your blood come into mine. But the oxygen we all breathe somehow, right? The moon we look at is the same one Hippocrates looked at, right? And all of this stuff, there's so much of us oneness that maybe our goals, maybe when we share them with people, right? Because that's one of the things they say to do, is to share your goals with people, hold yourself accountable. Maybe it's to help awaken others.
Yes.
Right? And when it comes back to us, how many of us have gone back through something and said, and then we meet somebody new and we're like, oh my God, I was just talking with a friend about that. And these ideas come up. We're supposed to be creatures of growing, of increase. And yet somehow our mind our ego does a great job at keeping us back. What else is going through your all's minds when you're thinking about this goal setting and sharing and values of ideas and wanting to kick ourselves in the butt for not doing something years ago? The hell with that. You couldn't have done it years ago because you didn't. You could have. If you could have, you would have, but you didn't. Something you had to grow into to become.
Hey, Sean, one of the things that there's a lot of things that we've been talking about lately because there's a lot going on in our world, but we were really noticing the times, you know, when we were trying to figure out why didn't something happen or why didn't we push through something. And we sat down and paid attention to the fact that we never set any goals. We had set some and then we hit them, but then we never set a new one. And so we plateaued and just kind of hung there and then got frustrated because we didn't achieve something, but we didn't set the goal in motion to go for it. So we were just kind of expecting the next thing to happen, but we hadn't put a plan in motion. And I know for us, you know, we will do personal goals. We will do goals as a couple. And then, you know, we'll just do some far out there goals and kind of, we'll do them separately. And then we'll take a look to see, do we even match up? Are we even on the same page? And most times we've not done too bad. But I forget where it was. We were somewhere at some garage sale somewhere. And I wish I had it to kind of pull up here and show. But I have this picture and it's nothing incredible. It's in an old rickety wooden frame. It's of a giant mouse in a bowling alley and he's thrown the ball and it's gone sideways. And it just says right across the middle, curveball. It's just where it says is curveball. And so many times when we've either been moving or just cleaning out, I've grabbed this thing to throw out and it's like, no, because there's always a curveball. And it's just for me, it's allowed me to, every time I see that, it's like, not to be ready for the curveball, but to accept the curveball because you just got to figure it out next. Like, okay, so now what do I do? Which way do I go now? Not that I'm not to do it, but it's like, figure it out. But there'll be a curveball. There's always something like you were talking about, something gets thrown at you, plans get changed. But me and my things, right? A mouse, a frog, whatever it is. I just thought of that. It's always there when I see this thing, curveball, and it happens. And it's interesting because when things have happened with our girls who are grown with their own families, that's a word that I use with them a lot. It's like, it's just a curveball. It's just a curveball. It's just, just maybe it's a detour for now. Don't look at it as an end.
I think that's brilliant. One of the things when you were saying that, I'm just trying to picture this big mouse with a bowling ball.
I'll find it.
But here's the thing that hit my mind. It was, so 1,000 words went through and created this whole story in my head. This mouse is in a bowling alley. Well, mice don't bowl.
Right.
So this mouse, instead of throwing the ball down the middle of the aisle for a strike, he didn't know how to bowl. So he threw this thing. So he turns around and all he could tell everybody else was, that was a curveball. I did it. Nobody else could do that. Right? That's what went through my head. And I'm laughing, watching this mouse just jump up and down. Everybody's like, well, that's not how you're supposed to do it at all. No. All I throw is curveballs. And I started laughing going, I wonder how many of us are a mouse and all we do is we live in a world of straight balls down the alley. And we're all throwing curveballs, trying to wake everybody the hell up. Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow. That's just, okay. So I've been trying to explain to Rick about these mornings. It's just, you can't explain. So where I just went with that, when I bowl, especially with my grandkids, I put the bumper guards down because then I can't go in the gutter. So it's almost like I want to make sure I go down the middle, right? Just thought of that.
So again, what are our bumper guards? So does everybody know what bumper guards are? So when you bowl, Kayla, right? You know bowling, right? It's got the little alleys, and if the ball falls off, it goes into the gutter and it doesn't hit the pins. Well, we have those things that they can come out for the kids, and it covers the gutters. So when the ball goes to the gutter, it bounces off. So how many of us? I don't know. So how many of us have had bumpers up? Because we can look at it both ways. And we've kept ourselves out of the gutter, but part of our life is we've got to experience the gutter.
Yeah.
The reason you put the bumpers down, and why Rick's nodding, is you'll never get better at bowling unless you
Exactly.
unless you take away the bumpers. I watched his head. So maybe maybe we need some bumpers to get us to actually hit a pin, right? So that we can enjoy the game of life. And sometimes the bumpers come up. Sometimes our bumpers are friends. Don't go do that. That's what mentors are. Maybe mentors are bumpers, right? And who are we? I have this one friend of mine where they're always in the gutter. I'm like, you need a different mentor. You really need a different mentor. It's like every time they take me through this shit storm, I'm like, there's a season for storms. That's cool. What's popping up for folks? What are you feeling? Anybody else?
Okay.
Man, I gotta go.
I can only sit back for so long, you know, that's, you know, it's interesting about the whole goal setting process, right? Over the years, you know, there's been some tremendous success on this call. Some of us have, you know, done some pretty crazy things in the eyes of others, right? And yet when we go to set our goals, a lot of times we don't want to tell anybody because there's an accountability there. So we write them down and all looks good, but make sure that no one else knows about it, because then we have to put the action to it. And sometimes there's fears that pop up, or that little nagging, gnawing, can you really do that again? Why do you think you should? Blah, 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 blah. You get all that crap going on in the back of your head, right? And could be the timing, could be whatever. But it's interesting as we as leaders talk to our up and coming leaders and walk them through the entire goal setting process. We all know exactly what to do, and yet we only do it when we really believe we can do it for ourselves. So depending on those personalities that we're trying to coach and walk them through it, there are times where I don't want somebody to set a massive goal, because their personality is they will achieve it, but at what cost to the team? And when you see that, and sometimes when we see some of similarities in our own traits, what damage have we done or experienced in that process? Bringing up a future fear of, man, I don't want to go through that crap again. You understand where I'm going with this, Sean?
Oh, absolutely. And so here's the thing, Rick. When you say write down the goals and tell anybody, the reason that we are all pretty good at what we do is because we've been able to adapt and adopt to those around us. So when we set goals, how many loonies are running around in the bin called the mind? When I set myself a goal for speaker, and I want to speak so many hours on stage and do these things, you know who's sitting back going, you can't do that? The dad in me, right? How many of, when I say I'm going to write another book, right? I've been part of 3 #1 best-selling Amazon #1 best-selling books, and I'm going to write my own book, and it'll be out by June. Oh, did I just announce a goal? And it's going to be out by June. You know who says you can't do that? My 9th, this is the funniest thing, my 9th grader in my head, Mason just went through 9th grade. I shared this on another one. His grade point average was 3.85. Mine, I kid with him. I go, listen, I'm your dad. Remember that. I said, because if we were to match wits, my first semester where you just finished was a 0.9. He's like, a what? He says, a 3.9? I said, no, a 0.9. He's like, oh my God, I'm never listening to you again on anything. But we have all of these people in our own minds, right? The loony bin. One of my greatest movies is Cuckoo's Nest, right? And so Cuckoo's Nest, where you're in an insane asylum. And a lot of times we have all of these people in our own minds.
Yep.
So and that's where we have to sometimes throw down the gauntlet. And it's when the energy gets high enough, right? We all know we can do this. If there was a huge need, right? That forced us into having a burning desire that's called survival of life. Of course we can do all this stuff. There's things we could do in minutes. I did an event it was in Costa Rica, and I do that little thing where I go, okay, how many people, 20 people, enrolling 20 people in your business in the next week would freak you out, and everybody's hands goes up. I go, who thinks they couldn't enroll one next week? And this little tiniest, she was this big, and she walks out and she goes, me. I go, I bet I could get you. I said, come on up. We just did a little thing, right? For those of you that don't know, I do this little 90-second exercise. Okay, so who's somebody you loved? And she pointed back to her husband. I said, you, come here. You go down to the other end across the front of the other side of the stage. I said, I've got him at the tallest building, and Monday, so today's Monday, so 3 days. So Wednesday morning, if you don't sponsor 2 people, I'm gonna throw them off the building. Her whole body changed. I kid you not. It was one of the scariest things I'd ever seen. I watched this dragon appear, and I said, so how many do you think you get sponsored by Wednesday? And she said, 1,000,000, which is 1,000. What are we needing in our own life to wake our asses up to get going? Because I can promise you, 2 months from now, you're going to be waking up going, oh, frick, Sean's got that thing, the misfit thing. Son of a bitch. If I don't show up, it'll piss him off. If I don't show up, now I got to tell everybody, I got to come up with a story the next day. Everybody will see me and they go, well, I was busy yesterday and I had this thing happen and blah, blah, blah. And we'll start giving excuses. I don't give a shit. I told you, I'm going to do this myself. Now, I'm not doing it to be egotistical, but we set these goals and all of a sudden our success, you guys are so numb to your greatness, every one of you. But you two especially, I know what you've done, and I don't know half of the shit you've been through. So we become numb to our success, and in this numbness, we can't feel anything until it's called habitualize. Right? If there's a fan in our bedroom that every now and then, if the fan, if it tweaks itself right, it goes, ee, 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 right? And if you were new in that room, you'd be like, God, I can't sleep with that noise. But it's been going on for 14 years. And every now and then, if it gets real loud, I'll just go, and all I got to do is get up and stand on the bed and move the fan. And it goes away. But we habitualize. What are you so used to in your own success that other people go, oh my God, the Linuses, you know them? It's like, well, yeah. You know Leslie? Oh my God, she was with everybody at GoPro taking all these pictures. You know them? Well, yeah, why wouldn't I know them? Well, because you're nobody. Thank you. I appreciate that. So what are we getting used to? Yeah. Leslie started it off with, oh my gosh, I haven't done the big, hairy, audacious goal. If everybody knew what time it was where she was, you'd be like, I ain't doing what she's doing. She's 2 hours behind us. Right? April, you shared the other day, which probably wasn't something you do on a daily basis, the way that you shared.
No.
No, but a part of you goes, there's gotta be some breakthrough.
Right.
So when you did that, when you set that goal to go do stuff, because that goal wasn't a part of your morning, it's like, I'm gonna get on and I'm just gonna reveal. What's happened since you've had that revelation, that opening?
Not everything that needs to, but I've had talks with other people. Well, one, I've had talks with myself and continuing to try to further define. And as I keep going, it kind of is still shifting and changing, which can be good as long as I'm making sure I'm not just using that as an excuse to keep
Correct.
not getting started. But then also picked someone up at the airport, and then they were like, "Oh, and how's your job going?" And I was literally like, "Could you ask somebody else and not me?" but she did, continue and was asking certain things, and so it was interesting because in me verbally out loud in front of another person just starting to talk about things, I heard my own voice. Now, I'll be honest, I talk to myself a lot, and when I talk to myself out loud a lot, those are the moments when I have the most clarity and I absorb more than at any other time. And so from the time I was a kid, I did it, and I make no excuse for it, and I will continue to do that. But when you're in front of someone else, you hear yourself again, and I don't know, you see yourself in a different light when you're talking about it. And some of these were in front of my partner, who hasn't heard most of anything, because she's not as positive minded probably as I am. She's grown a lot by being with me over many years, but not to the level where, I feel I'm at on there. But
Well, a couple of things my mentor would say to me: if we agree on everything, we don't need one of us.
yeah,
So controversy allows us to consolidate, right?
yes, yeah,
And so that's pretty cool. But I applaud you, because again, you're the one that made the shift.
yeah,
You right, for every breakdown there's a breakthrough, and before a breakthrough can happen, something's got to break down. And
right,
usually that's the ego breaking down of who we are and who we should be. I cry almost every day, and sometimes it's about what I'm doing. Other times I know there's things that make my energy higher. And I've said this on a bunch of lives, is I watch golden buzzer moments on Britain's Got Talent, America's Got Talent, because I love the awe that contestant is in when they hit it. They didn't know it.
yeah,
So I look at myself, what am I not knowing? What would I get a golden buzzer for? Right?
yeah,
And how can I stay in that? What do I have to face? Because you can see them. All of the greatest ones that they're out there, and they can't even hold the mic. They're shaking so much. What do I have to do to get my ass out there into something that terrifies me so much? But it's in my joy. It's in my greatness. I've been blessed to start to do a lot of work in Latin America, and my Spanish sucks. It's really not that good. But what happens is I'll get out there, and I am not afraid to do my best to attempt to communicate, even though I know I'm going to say a word that's going to be like, "Oh, you rope pull down road? What the hell did you just say? Oh, you pull a rope down the road. Yeah, no, we got it." Two things it does. It forces them to pay attention to me, but it also gives them an idea of, I'm not afraid. I'm really not. And why? Because it's the result of that connection. There's a goal that we currently have that we're all looking at, waiting for, going, yeah, but I just don't know if I can do it. I think Bob Proctor said, do the thing do the thing until you're not afraid, and then you won't have to do the thing. I have to do it. Don't have to do it. Do it until you don't have to, then you won't have to. Just do it. Get your body engaged in it. Leslie, I want you today to give yourself a reward, a surprise. I don't care if you draw yourself a star on a sticky note and put it on your computer screen, but give yourself a reward for what you've done on these calls. Right? And when you've had an issue, you've reached out to me and you go, okay, mine's showing up. I'm on the DG side. I need to get to the Fiji side. But you asked. You would have never have asked before. This is an awakening in you that's happening right now in all of us. Give yourself a star for being I just showed up on a freaking Zoom call. What? That's huge. Why do we let the little things? Okay, so how many people on here cook? Anybody cook? How many of us have ever, what did I just do the other day? I put the wrong kind of 17 ingredients, 18 ingredients, and one of them was chicken broth. And for some reason, I grabbed beef broth. Now, it was only like half a cup, But do you think it changed the outcome of the recipe? And if it changes the outcome of the recipe, and I give that to stuff, all of a sudden, because the result was no good, but it was one ingredient that was missing. So how important is us giving ourselves gratitude and love for us doing everything every day? That's what journaling is. In this goal setting, you know, we come out of a similar business, a lot of us, and we talk about a 90-day plan. I want to choke people who say, I'm going to do a 90-day plan, and they don't start off with 90 days of plans. But then that's too confusing. That's overwhelming. How am I going to write down what I'm going to do 90 days from now? You're not. So I'd rather you write down a 9-minute plan. What the frick are you going to do in the next 9 minutes that's different? Just different. Because the 90-day goal, any goal we set for a year from now, right? The revolutions are coming up. I call them revolutions instead of, I'm not going to resolve to do anything. I'm going to revolt against all of the other crap I've decided not to do. Well, were you going to set my yearly goal? No, set your January 1 goal. What do you want to do January 1? Then wake up and have the goal out there. But like Leslie said, sometimes the compass has changed. I've been busy as hell. I've been on the ocean of confusion. I'm the captain of no man land, right? I was going to be a 3-hour trip, and now I'm stuck on this island and they got a TV show. Well, what the hell? And nobody's watching the TV show because nobody knows you're on the island. We couldn't send the film crew. So what's going through your heads? Again, this is yours.
I'm having a cuckoo chief juicy fruit moment.
See, Bob, that whole thing that you just said screwed up our nexting. Cuckoo Chief, juicy fruit. What the hell? That and we were nexting, going, okay, Cuckoo Chief, that could be from Cuckoo's Nest. Juicy, what? Tell us about that, Bob.
Well, anyway, you started this out with a very interesting question about how do we know what's of value, and I don't know how to answer that. I think that's something I got to do a lot of thinking about. But what I think I know a little bit about is something about goal setting or achieving outcomes. And I was listening to Leslie there. Life happens when we've made other plans, but if we start out with something like, if a miracle could happen, what would that be like? And then you, again, like I suggested a couple sessions back, you step into that image, see how it feels. And if it feels good, go with it. If it doesn't, readjust the image a little bit until you get a feeling that does stay in place. And then let life sort out by going forward. And another way to approach going forward is through the ancient wisdom of the Chinese guy Chung King Down, where you start with your goal in mind and chunk it down into little steps so that you get to the point where you finally find one you can start out with today and hope you get to the rest of them.
Was he in the third dynasty, chunking down? Did y'all get that? Chunk it down? He's used this Chinese, the chunking down. It's like, oh, wow. You, Bob. I feel like I'm one of Charlie's angels. Hi, Bob. And we'll never see him. We just get this voice of wisdom.
That's exactly what I was going to say the other day. That is so funny. I was going to go, guys, the reason we've never seen him is because it's Charlie.
Yeah,
So that's funny that you say that because I was going to mention it today and I forgot.
That's brilliant, Bob. But and again, it's important to chunk it down. So today, look at your, and between now and, January 1, when the clock starts again. Now the clock started now. First of all, you never started, right? Well, I was born on this day. Yeah, but you started before then because you were in the womb. Yeah, but okay, so conception. No, you started before that because your parents were fooling around before you, right? So it all started long ago. What if we never started? Which means we never what? We never finish. So in this moment today, begin this process of awareness of your greatness, and use the third dynasty great philosopher saying, chunking down, find your moments, find your moments and this is key. What Bob said was, when you step into your miracle, we really do need to experience. The reason a lot of goal setting techniques are, well, what do you feel? What do you taste? It's to activate the emotions. They're not saying, what do you think? They're saying, get into the state of feeling, because it's really a body thing. And we've got to adapt and adopt the body so that it can prepare our nervous system and everything else for all of the things that are about to happen. Right? Because when we don't do it, it's called intentional blindness. How many of us have ever opened up a kitchen drawer and said, honey, where's that thing? And they go, it's in the drawer. And you go, what the hell it is? I'm looking at it. And they come and open the drawer, and there it is. You're like, 2 seconds ago, that wasn't in there. That wasn't in there. No way. Yeah, it's called intentional blindness. We force ourselves not to look at a lot of things that achieve our greatness. Anyone else want to wrap it up? Throw something else out, something that's just sitting on your heart?
Hey, Sean.
Hey, Cadillac.
Hey, hey, it's good being on this call. It's one of the things you need to do when you're getting up in the morning. I'm an hour ahead of you, and thought I was going to get on at 6:30. I tried to, and nothing was there.
Yep. Yeah.
Crazy. And I had to refocus my mind and saying, you know what, this is what I have to do, not I want to do. I don't want to do this. It's just like being in Alcoholics Anonymous. At first, I had to go to get some success and not be able to drink.
Yep.
For that day or
Yep.
that hour. Almost 19 years later, I've been successful at that. And this network marketing is not hard, but it's hard. We talked about it for, I don't know how many times, Sean, but all these little sayings we do, just like Alcoholics Anonymous. So I'm not afraid to say I'm an alcoholic. I put myself out there just like I'm putting myself in network marketing.
Yep. So maybe we need to start a community called Gold Setters Anonymous, and we, right? And
It probably would.
I mean, really, that's all it is. That's why everybody uses a foundation of Alcoholics Anonymous, it's a daily thing, the 11 steps, right? And all of that stuff.
12 steps.
Well, I'm an overachiever. I'll take one out. No, but there are the 12 steps. Well, cool. Well, Cadillac, I appreciate it, Chad. Everybody, I love you all tons. Go have an amazing day filled with the goals and accomplish the success you've already started, because when it's all said and done, we need you in this world. And I would love, I'm working on my best every day to be at my better so that I can make the world better for all of us. And I hope you'll do the same for you and for your family. So I don't know what tomorrow will bring. I'll get up. I'll be here, since I don't have 2-year-olds running around going to beat me to the Christmas tree. So I'll be here if y'all want to join in. If not, totally understand. It's Christmas. It's a holiday. But we'll go from there.
A miracle will happen, so you might as well step in it. You'll step into something one way or another.
I love Bob. Thank you, Charlie. That's your new name. Charlie. All right, everybody. I love you tons. Thank you for being here. Blessings.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
Bye.
Love y'all.